How's it going, Starlings? Welcome to my Stargirl DC Fandome Part 2 breakdown, of which, I'm going to go over the stuff that they teased in the panel. And yes, there isn't much to say. I wasn't going to make a video about this, but then I just thought I could kind of speculate about what I want to see, this, that, and the other. As I said, DC Fandome, I think a lot of people were fairly unanimous in this. It was kind of underwhelming with some of the stuff that we got from multiple panels. Like, for example, in the Stargirl panel, I expected a little bit more. They were very vague, and I don't expect spoilers, just some more stuff. Here's an example for you. They would have announced, if you guys remember, last year, we were covering, or was it last year? I made a video, basically, about the comments from Breck Bassinger and I believe Jeff Johns, and they were talking about crossing over with The Flash in Season 1. So that looked like it was going to be more of a Season 2 thing. It could still very well be a thing. And you would have thought by now, if they were going to do that in Season 2, despite the schedules not actually being a thing, they would have said, oh yeah, like we plan on crossing over with the Flash this year, like the CW's Flash, he will be coming to Stargirl's Earth. They could have just said that much. They didn't even have to write the story. They didn't have to figure out which episode is happening, but that would have been, some hypey kind of information out of fandom we would have expected. But there was some stuff discussed. So let's get on with that. I would still love to know your thoughts on Season 2 and what was said. And let's start with the first thing. So obviously a lot of it was recap. A lot of it for existing shows other than Superman and Lois being the most informative panel. By the way, go check out my Superman and Lois breakdown from DC Fandome Part 2, as well as Titans and The Flash. I've done 3 videos so far. But as far as Season 2, Grundy is not gone just yet, and Jeff Johns is very much so more excited for people to see more of Grundy. I guess that was maybe a question for some fans, because you could argue that for the story arc they established in Season 1 between Solomon Grundy and mainly Rick, obviously wanting some kind of vengeance for his parents, of which he overcame, which I really didn't actually think was going to happen. I didn't think he was going to kill him or anything, but I felt like the transformation for how agitated and edgy he was all season wasn't explored enough by the point of where he just decided not to do it. But I feel like the scene in which was performed, where he was about to smash the rock over Grundy's head, that was such a good performance and crisis of self. The main point I'm trying to get to here is, with Solomon kind of leaving as of that moment, looking at him, you could have argued that little kind of grunt that he gave to Rick Tyler was like, this ain't over, but you've won the battle, but not the war. Could be a thing. That could be a thing. But it would also, I feel, be walking back a little bit, but just on both characters. Solomon Grundy is, I guess, question his intelligence and whether he wants revenge for being beat up by our man. But for Rick, at least, it's over, I feel. What reason would he have to go after Grundy? I feel like it would be on Grundy's end. So my guess and prediction, before we get onto some of the other things, is that maybe Grundy, once again, I kind of feel sorry for him, will be taken advantage of by the new ISA, whether that's with Shade in charge, with some maybe newer, younger generation members, such as Cameron Marquand's son, Icicle Jr., obviously Shiv, etc., etc. And I'm sure Jeff Johns could write quite an interesting story there in how perhaps Solomon Grundy could be weaponized. Other than that, I would love to know your thoughts as to how Jeff Johns, as he said, himself, Grundy is not gone just yet, and he's excited for people to see more of him. I really wonder what that is. Now, Eclipso, we kind of knew that was an important thing within itself, as of that very scene, but Jeff Johns said one of the important things at the end of Season 1 is when we introduce Eclipso, and he kind of went on to kind of say very low-key, like, that was very important. And that kind of extra nudge of emphasis there in the end really makes me question, what do they really plan to do? Because we all had a sense of what they might do, whether that is the Heart of Darkness or whether that's one of the shards of the Heart of Darkness. It doesn't really matter. I'm sure they're just gonna have this diamond possess people or possess someone, or maybe it might be a series of possessions. I've already said how you may have one of the heroes. That would be an interesting 2-part story arc, for example, if someone like Yolanda was temporarily taken over by Eclipso before Eclipso finds his kind of permanent host of this season, if you will, or if that's even a thing. Maybe it will keep bodies skipping, who knows. And the new JSA have to deal with said person being corrupted by Eclipso, like this new hijacked, more powerful version of their own character. Now, I did speculate Yolanda. Now, in the comics, it kind of does pertain to a little bit of her story, and more like somebody she's related to, of which in the show is her brother, whereas in the comics, I believe it was her cousin. So Yolanda, and they've already established this, she's already pretty dark. She's not even, she's now murdered someone. When they were on the stands, on the football pitch or whatever it was, she was just staring out into space. She's got a lot of stuff, so you could argue that Eclipso may take advantage of that, because he kind of does feast off people who are vulnerable in that way. And she does have a lot of built up kind of frustration still. She doesn't have any closure with Henry. There's a lot going on there. So it'd be interesting to see her being taken over by Eclipso. The emphasis on Eclipso being important could be something else entirely. Whether that is just that he finds another host, whether that is Yolanda's brother, which, you know, I don't know if they're actually going to do. It doesn't really matter right now for the point of what I'm trying to say, is that that will present and represent a new challenge for the new JSA within Season 2 as of itself. On top of the Shade and whatever his motives are, on top of whatever the rivalry with Shiv is going to be, on top of Grundy's story, you have this freaking very powerful Eclipso character, of which I've gone over in a previous video. If you want to know a little bit more about him, this isn't really the video for that, but if you don't know who Eclipso is from the comics, I'll link it in this video, I'm sure. So yeah, apparently he's very, very important, and I'm very, very excited to see more of that. Now, I'm glad this was touched upon, but it felt like what is going to be a disappointing answer to fans, or maybe already has, because we did have the whole question about Dr. Midnight and Hootie. So this question was actually asked by Angelica Washington, who plays Beth Chapel herself, saying, I know what the fans want to know, you know, when are we going to see Hootie or whatever. Jeff Johns did say, we will definitely be talking about Hootie at some point. And then again, I think like 10 minutes later in the panel, it got brought up again, and then he said, there's always a chance. So to me, that's kind of like parring off answer in the most kind of polite way, and never saying never kind of comment and reply. Maybe in Season 2, I don't think he's thinking about it in immediate first several episodes or anything like that. Maybe they might do a one-off kind of connection episode and establishment to the new Dr. Midnight and Hootie. But as for an actual thing, it will probably be CG a lot of the time, and also being on set with like a trainer there where she has to kind of use it. That is quite a lot of work, so I kind of get the vagueness from Jeff Johns there, in my opinion. And I would love to see that, because you do really feel like when you see that owl Hootie on screen, when Courtney and Pat went into the JSA HQ, you felt so sorry for him, because he's literally been sat there, well, maybe he's flown about, got some food if you know what I mean, but he has predominantly stationed himself probably most each and every day waiting for Dr. Midnight to return. And he just gives that little hoot, and your heart kind of sinks. So I would love to have that established dynamic between Beth, the new Dr. Midnight, and Hootie. If they could do that on the show, that would be really cool. I understand the challenges that come with filming and production when it comes to that, but it would be really, really good if they could do that. I think an owl would be a lot harder than doing something like Crypto, a dog on Titans, so you can understand. You never know. I think naturally the progression of these characters, these new JSA members, whilst they are still newbie and whilst they did progress to a certain point at the end of last season, they were successful after all, there's still a lot of development that needs to go, and I think it's only natural that Dr. Midnight will get a connection with the owl. Now, I just thought I'd chuck this in here, because I think it pertains to Eclipso, because it was a joke. However, Jeff Johns almost says something that made me very intrigued. So jokingly, Amy, who plays Barbara, said that she'd be so okay with a superpower, then said, at least give me a dream sequence of a superpower. And then Jeff said, well, there is, well, I don't want to spoil anything for Season 2, because, you know, we're breaking it right now, but it's just that moment within itself, because the joking comment of, oh, you know, at least give me a dream sequence with a superpower or something, and he's just like, well, there is, you know, there is a... I can't say anything. That, to me, sounds like Eclipso inhabiting somebody, thus giving them superpowers. Now, I don't think that would be the case for Barbara, because, I mean, it could be possible, like, within the realms of what Eclipso does through granting that kind of manifestation of powers in somebody, like a normal human being, not a meth, or even Wildcat, like, take away her suit, she's just Yolanda. So, I do think, I thought I'd chuck that in here, that, you know, Jeff Johns, even without saying anything there, where he literally just said, well, there is, in reply to her talking about, give me a superpower, or at least give me a dream sequence of one, I think that should be referencing, or will be referencing, just Eclipso. However, you could argue they may tease a dream sequence if it is a direct reply to what she was saying. At least give me a dream sequence of a superpower. Maybe the Lantern being addressed and somebody having like a calling. That would be cool. However, I've got my own comments about the lantern and the pen that I'll get into in just a second. Talking about the pen, at least, this is where some of the cast said what they personally would like to see from season 2. So Breck said, I believe, I want to see some closure with this pink pen. Bring me Jakeem. Then Yvette then said that she keeps thinking of the Green Lantern because the little lantern was flickering from the beginning. They go back to it a lot, so that would be cool. And now this is where Jeff Johns kind of said his reply to Breck and Yvette, talking about, you know, bring me Jakeem, to see the continuation of the Lantern in season 2 would be cool. So he says that he's so excited for season 2 because they do have so many other things to explore with these characters and other avenues and other characters that exist in the world to meet and introduce. And we'll do it the best way we can, and we'll do it at our own pace, but we'll definitely be playing with things like the pink pen in season 2. Now notice how he didn't really reference the lantern there. You could argue that was included in playing with things, plural, like the pen. However, my stance on this, and I've said this for the longest time, is that I don't think we're going to get like new established characters on top of Rick Tyler's Our Man. You know, even somebody like Shiv and Breck Bassinger's freaking Stargirl and Dr. Midnight. Adding in a Green Lantern with effects. This is on top of Stripe as well already being there. And Jakeem with the pink pen. That's a lot more money. I could tease it. As Jeff Johns said, well, we are going to get a continuation of the pink pen. That would be awesome. I don't think we're going to get a fully fledged superhero mode kind of new JSA member. I could be wrong about that. However, like bringing in the lantern and picking up the mantle of the Green Lantern for somebody else, despite them teasing that, I think we're going to get more threads of tease. That's why I feel like he said the specific quote of, there are so many other things to explore with these characters and other avenues and other characters that exist in the world and to meet and introduce, but we'll do it the best way we can, and we'll do it at our own pace. So I think our own pace is kind of like, we're going to kind of get there, but I'm not saying we're going to get a Green Lantern or fully fledged Jakeem. I think you should kind of tap or hinder your expectations for that just a little bit to be pleasantly surprised by the confirmed pink pen teasers that we're going to get an exploration into. Don't get me wrong, I would love to see a Green Lantern mantle being taken up, but I just don't see a fully fledged Jakeem Thunder and new Alan Scott-ish Green Lantern, or whether it's one of his kids, joining the JSA on top of Our Man, Stargirl, Dr. Midnight, and, you know, Pat, you know, with obviously Stripe. That's not going to become an extended regular cast like you would have on Arrow with Laurel's Black Canary. Then you had Curtis and then Renee, Wild Dog. These are a lot more CGI-esque kind of characters. So you get my point there. But I am very thrilled to know that we're going to get the kind of pink pen continuation, or at least the heavy emphasis of the pink pen in season 2 that he teased. But he did say things, so that's why I think they're going to continue with the Green Lantern. Maybe there will be other legacy kind of hints of a future speedster. That would be absolutely awesome. But it's not like you wear Jay Garrick's helmet and you become a speedster. A speedster's a whole different thing, obviously. So maybe the Dr. Fate helmet, that would be amazing. But don't get your hopes up for that either, because obviously Dr. Fate's going to be in Black Adam. I think that character is embargoed, so the best they can have is the freaking helmet just chilling in the JSA HQ. But it is one of those things where it's like, why not just put the helmet on someone? But, you know, it's one of the behind the scenes reasons as to why they probably just can't. But either way, guys, let me know your thoughts about all of this, the kind of subtle news that we got about season 2, but also my opinions and predictions, because I felt like that this video was warranted based on just some of the tangible stuff we did get. And I love talking about predictions of Stargirl season 2 because it looks like it's going to be piping up to be a really, really fun season, especially with Eclipso, the Shade, everything we've discussed. So aside from that, like this video if you did enjoy it, subscribe to never miss out on a future Stargirl update. Also, definitely check out the top pinned comment right below this video, because I link my Discord server there, my merch store, and my Twitter and Instagram, and my freaking Patreon if you want to support me a bit further. But other than that, everyone, thank you so much for watching. I hope you all have a lovely rest of your day, and I'll see you starlings in the next video. Goodbye.